Psalm 121 verses 1 and 2 says, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. I've been thinking about this passage lately, ever since coming to France. And every morning I climb these hills in Lacoste, every morning. And some mornings they're breathtaking. And other mornings they remind me that I am 62, carrying a backpack with a computer, and I'm wondering why every beautiful village seems to be built straight up. And somewhere between catching my breath and taking in the view, this verse keeps finding me. I lift up my eyes. I've always loved that phrase. Not because it's poetic, because it's intentional. The psalmist doesn't stumble into hope. He lifts his eyes. He chooses where to look. And that convicts me because if I'm honest, my eyes don't naturally lift. They fall towards the news, towards the numbers, towards the post that didn't perform, towards the book I haven't finished, towards the money I wish I had, towards the future I keep trying to manage before it gets here. And fear has gravity. It pulls my eyes down. And maybe that's why faith feels less like certainty and more like repetition every day, and sometimes several times a day. I have to lift my eyes again. And these mountains have been teaching me something. The mountain itself isn't the point. The question is, where does my help come from? And I love that the psalmist asked the question and then he answers himself, not because he forgot, because he needed to remember. And I know that feeling. There are moments here when I wonder how all of this comes together. The book, the ministry, the business I'm trying to build, the resources I don't yet have, the dreams that feel bigger than my current reality. And then I hear myself asking the same question, Sandra, where does your help come from? Not from having everything figured out, not from another opportunity, not from more followers, not from finally feeling ready, whenever that is. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth, the maker of these mountains, which means the one who called me here is not intimidated by what still feels impossible to me. That doesn't erase the climb. It changes how I climb. Because maybe faith isn't pretending the mountain isn't steep. Maybe faith is remembering who made the mountain in the first place. So today, I'm paying attention to the direction of my eyes, because whatever I keep looking at begins to shape me. If I stare only at what I lack, scarcity grows. If I stare only at what's uncertain, anxiety grows. But if I keep lifting my eyes, not in denial, but in trust, something steadier begins to grow. Not certainty. No, not answers. Just enough courage to take the next step. And today, that feels like enough. Field guide for you. Pay attention to where your eyes go first today. When fear arises, where do you look? When you begin calculating what you don't have, where do you look? When the dream feels larger than your resources, where do you look? You may not be able to change the mountain, but you can change the direction of your eyes. I'm still learning that. Maybe you are too.